This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Hi everyone, Thao here. So last week, to my surprise, I received the Android 12L update on my Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. For those of you who aren't really in the loop, Google seems to be taking big screen Android tablets seriously again. And 12L basically is a mini update that makes Android better on tablets and foldable devices. Google's already teased that they're launching a new Pixel tablet next year, so this all kind of makes sense. Anyways, now that I've spent some time with the update, I thought I'd share the most notable new features as well as my thoughts on them. When it comes to tablets, I love iPads like everyone else, but I don't know what it is. I just have a soft spot for these Galaxy Tabs because I think they're a little underrated. Anyways, let's dive in to see what 12L brings to the biggest, baddest Android tablet on the market. But before I do, I gotta give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. So Surfshark is a VPN that encrypts all your data before it goes over the internet. So people you don't want having access to your personal information won't have access to it, especially on sketchy public Wi-Fi. My favorite feature is that you can use Surfshark to access content that might be blocked in your country. As a Canadian, I love that I can watch shows from the US, Japan, or just anywhere I want. And there's no limit to the number of devices you can connect at once either, so keep your entire family secure too. Click the link below and use my promo code TAO. You'll get 83% off and 3 months completely free. First up, the most exciting change is the addition of an optional taskbar that lives at the bottom of the screen. To enable it, head into the settings, tap display, and scroll down until you see taskbar. In here, you also have the option to show or hide recent apps that aren't pinned to the taskbar. If the animation didn't already give it away, the apps in your taskbar are the exact same ones you place in the dock on your home screen. Remove or add an app to your dock and the change will appear on the taskbar. While you still have the option to use either gesture or button navigation, I found myself preferring the button navigation since I already have edge gestures with a one-hand Operation Plus setup. The buttons are easier to use, especially if I'm using the S Pen. I also like that it's pushed to the right, just makes it easier to reach with my fingers in my opinion. If you're a fan of the very similar pin edge panel that was in the previous version of One UI, you know, the one that you could have on the right side, I have bad news. That's no longer an option. Looks like they scrapped it completely in favor of this new taskbar feature. Alright, so the new taskbar takes the already epic multitasking capabilities of the Galaxy Tab and takes it up another notch. You can now quickly jump between apps by just tapping the icon just like this. And for the most part, it's very responsive as you can see. If you're looking for an app that isn't on your taskbar because, you can only have so many apps on here, hit this 3x3 grid and that'll give you access to the rest of your apps. It's basically a shortcut to your app drawer. The taskbar also makes it easier to set up split screen multitasking. With one app already open, you can drag and drop a second app to the right, left, top, or bottom. I just love how quick and easy it is to switch apps out. Now, no one really works like this where you're switching apps like crazy, but it just feels very intuitive and computer-like, which I appreciate. Moving on, dragging and dropping an app to the middle of the screen will launch the app in a pop-up window. Now that pop-up windows actually remember the size and shape that you last opened them in, pop-up windows are surprisingly useful. I personally use the calculator in pop-up view all the time, and another favorite use case of mine is scrolling through social apps while watching YouTube. Oh, and they also added the ability to drag and drop apps from the recent apps screen too. So yeah, if you're big on split screen or pop-up view multitasking, you've got plenty of options now. If that wasn't enough already, there's also a couple of new multitasking gestures. Both are disabled by default, so you'll need to enable them in the settings under the Labs menu. Turning on swipe for split screen allows you to swipe with 2 fingers from either side to automatically put that app into a split screen view, giving you the option to select the second app of your choice. Turning on swipe for pop-up view allows you to swipe towards the middle of the screen from either of the top corners to switch an app from full screen to pop-up view. The one thing I will say about the split screen gesture that I don't love is that it's a little slow. I think Samsung needs to add some sort of animation to let you know when it actually registers the gesture. There's like a half-second delay sometimes that leaves me wondering if it even worked or not. So in the past, you could save app pairs or app trios that you use often to the Edge panel, but what's new is the ability to save them to your taskbar, or even more useful, you can add them straight to your home screen now. So if there's a pair or trio of apps that you use regularly, it's easier than ever to load up that workflow. Once again, there's also a very noticeable delay when you launch these. I think Samsung needs to rethink how these launch visually, so it doesn't give off the impression that the device is lagging. Now, my initial reaction to the taskbar was that it's a little redundant considering that the Galaxy Tabs already have Dex mode, which has its own taskbar. But now that I've spent more time with it, I'm kind of digging it. Plus, it's optional. They're not forcing you to use it if you don't want to. The whole thing is giving me iPad OS multitasking vibes, if I'm being honest, because it's so similar to the dock plus drag and drop system that the iPad has been doing for a while now. Of course, the Galaxy Tab gives you a lot more flexibility and freedom, but in general, it feels very similar. As someone who uses both tablets, I kind of appreciate the similarities, since it makes it much easier to jump from one to another. Likely, my biggest complaint about the taskbar is that the icons are a little on the small side. And if you're wondering, no, it doesn't matter how many apps you have, this is the size. For a touch-based device, it's not very touch-friendly. If you're using the keyboard cover or the S Pen, it's fine, but good luck if you have larger fingers. They probably did that because this isn't the tallest tablet when you use it in landscape mode. If you make the icons any bigger, it starts to cut into that vertical space. Even at its current size, with the taskbar at the bottom and the notch pushing downwards from the top, the 16:10 aspect ratio could start to feel a little cramped for some. Overall though, it's a nice little update. As usual, thank you all so much for watching. Until the next one, I'm out of here.